I hope that, like me, you have been keen on what is happening in the political arena regarding the uh, African Democratic Congress, ADC, and the People's Democratic Party vis-a-vis the All Progressives Congress, properly so-called All Retrogressive Congress, because there's no progress. 2015 till date, no progress. Under the so-called All Progressives Congress, there's no progress. And so, Nigerians are basically looking and praying for positive change away from the deceptions of the so-called All Progressive Congress. And if you look out to the horizon, what do you see? You see the People's Democratic Party and the African Democratic Congress, ADC. So, what is the latest? The latest, as I saw it yesterday, is that Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, and Rotimi Amechi will seem to have emerged as the three contending forces for the presidential ticket of the ADC, and that the three of them, have agreed among themselves to support whoever emerges as the presidential flag bearer of the ADC among the three of them. But is that the solution? Is that the solution? Certainly, that is not the answer to the yearning of many Nigerians, not the least the obedient movement. And as I said, the obedient movement is larger than the organization called obedient movement. For instance, I am not in any political movement other than looking forward to the emergence of Peter Obi as the presidential flag bearer of any political party, ADC or PDP. So I think that, and I've said this, that Atiku Abubakar will not achieve his presidential ambition by hiding behind the coalition. He cannot. Yesterday and today, Atiku Abubakar represents North-South injustice. Age is not on his side. His political past is not on his side, because after serving 8 years as Nigeria's vice president, he built his own university, which signifies corruption. That he must have enriched himself as Nigeria's vice president, 1999 to 2007, as vice president to Olusegun Obasanjo. Besides, how can a just person want to shortchange the South by wanting to succeed somebody who's from the North, who spent 8 years and has no conscience to say, the South should not be marginalized? So sense of justice, sense of conscience, and all of that is lacking. And the same thing with Rotimi Amechi from the South, where Goodluck Ebele Asikwe Jonathan comes from, and served 8 years in Aso Rock as vice president to Umaru Musa Yar'Adua. and acting president when Umaru Musa Yar'Adua died, and they succeeded him as Nigeria's elected president 2011 to 2015. So, so all of these are in favor of Peter Obi, which if the ADC wants to be just and be seen to be just, would just have decided to concede to Peter Obi as its presidential candidate. But that is not happening yet. And so the future of the ADC is still in jeopardy. For the PDP, PDP has become so messed up that the likes of Seyi Makinde, the governor of Oyo State, are parading themselves as PDP promoters. Somebody like Seyi Makinde, who supported the election of APC's Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 2023 and has said nobody can stop him from supporting the re-election of Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 2027. Is now one of those some PDP leaders are thinking of making the presidential candidate of the party in 2027. What can be more ridiculous? So my advice for both the ADC and the PDP is this: don't go different ways because you will fail. What we have seen now is that the APC is far ahead of the opposition political parties in all the by-elections held this month. And even local government elections held this month. So the lesson from that should be that whichever party fields Peter Obi, between the ADC and PDP, the other party should simply ally with the party. Better still, unite now and support each other as a front, whether it be it local government election, state election, House of Assembly election, to support one another as a front. If you really want to confront the All Progressives Congress, that is the lesson that should be clear to any right-thinking person. But too many people are consumed by their personal ambition to become Nigeria's president by all means, to become the elected person by all means at whatever level. So, which will make all of them to fail rather than win. So, PDP, if it can succeed in giving its presidential ticket to Peter Obi, fine. If it is ADC, so if it succeeds in giving its presidential candidacy to Peter Obi, the ADC should simply team up with the PDP, vice versa. But to say you can go it alone as ADC, you are not complete without PDP. To say the PDP can go alone without the ADC, you are not complete without the ADC. United, you stand. Divided, you fall. That is the handwriting that I see on the wall. But the cynosure is Peter Obi, representing North, South, and Zonal justice without argument. But for Atiku, at his age and precedence And even his recent utterance that he told Obasanjo to wage war on the Boko Haram Muslim community, indicating that Atiku is looking for power to perpetuate the war against the Boko Haram Muslim community. He disrecommended himself to right-thinking Nigerians who know that there will be no peace without peace with the Boko Haram Muslim community. A community protesting perpetration of haram. That the Western education you acquire, you are abusing it to perpetrate haram, which nobody can deny. Take the simple example, fuel subsidy, from where to where, from what to what. So or even the senseless, mindless war against the Boko Haram Muslim community. For what reason? Was the Boko Haram Muslim community not there during the presidency of Olusegun Obasanjo? Yet, relative peace and relative progress. But since 2009, where the war started, Nigeria has become something else. A country listed among terrorist nations. And to make the matters worse, adding S-men terrorism to the war against the Boko Haram community by the APC, so-called All Progressives Congress. in reality, all retrogressive Congress. And now, the so-called African Democratic Congress. You want to hide behind democracy to deny justice. God forbid. God forbid. So, the earlier you give the presidential ticket to Peter Obi, and we persuade the PDP to join with you, because there's no other way for the PDP or any other opposition political party than coalition. Otherwise, you are just saying the status quo should continue, which, God forbid. Since 2015 to 2025, empty promises, deceptions, foolery, for that to continue. No. But as long as you continue to be self-seeking rather than seeking the good of Nigeria, you continue to mess up as PDP or as ADC. Recent elections have shown that PDP remains the forefront, the foremost opposition political party. You can't deny that. So whatever the ADC will become tomorrow, what it is today, PDP is still ahead of it. But that does not mean that PDP is fantastic. It is not. It is not. It's far below the APC. But all hope is not lost if all the opposition political parties, or as many as possible of them, can join together. At minimum, ADC and PDP. So stop thinking of who will get the presidential ticket of ADC, who will get the presidential ticket of PDP. Think of who will get the presidential ticket of the coalition, of the opposition to the so-called APC. That's how you should think now. Who gets the presidential ticket of the opposition, of the coalition that should include the PDP, or PDP that should include the ADC? If you think about it that way, and you can unite and encourage other opposition political parties to join with you, then there's hope. But as things are currently, there's no hope. Saying that Atiku, Rotimi, Peter Obi have agreed to support whoever amongst the three of them gets the presidential ticket of the ADC, they will support the person. That will not help. The obedient movement, as I've said, is much smaller than obedience, because not all obedient, don't all those who want Peter Obi to become the presidential candidate in 2027 are in the obedient movement. I, for one, am not in the obedient movement, and I know there will be many like me who think that let us do justice, north, south, and zona. We should not think of marginalizing the southeast. For what reason? For whatever reason. There's no ethnic group in Nigeria, there's no zone in Nigeria that doesn't have presidential candidate. Forget about the Igbo politicians opposing Peter Obi. Common Igbo people who are suffering know that it's not the way out, but the self-seeking politicians opposing Peter Obi, but what can encourage people is not happening. The ADC is dragging its feet about giving the ticket to Peter Obi outrightly. Atiku from the north, where Buhari has just served 8 years. Rotimi Amechi from the south side, where Jonathan has served 8 years in Aso Rock. So, the two of you are not different from Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is from the southwest of Olusegun Obasanjo, yet decides that he must be the president of Nigeria and not the southeast, while he is from the southwest. So the two of you, Atiku and Rotimi Amechi, you are not different from Tinubu. In conscience, you are not different. So morally, you are not different. And Nigerians who will think of voting for you will have no sense, by my judgment. So you are not helping matters with all this your hide and seek that you are doing.